This is Ollie Connolly, who is a writer for The Guardian. Now, I've never heard of it, but seems to be reputable. He was previously an NFL and a college football scout. He writes for The Guardian. He has 32,000 X followers, if that's what you want to call them, Twitter followers. And this is what he said today, earlier this morning, Tuesday morning, very early. Update. Bill Belichick has agreed to become the next University of North Carolina coach. Belichick handed the school a 400-page organizational Bible with structure, payment plans, staff choices, etc., decisions on whether to commit with USC. He is expected to know their decision, as in North Carolina's decision, within 24 hours. When Nick Saban went back to college football, it was obviously a big deal. But when you have what many consider the greatest NFL coach in NFL history, to after an offseason where he didn't get a lot of looks, there wasn't, there were some talks that he might have been in communication with the Atlanta Falcons, but they went with Raheem Morris. There was not a lot of juice for Bill Belichick in the NFL ranks. And so I thought he was going to sit out this year and at some point was going to make a run at another NFL job. And I even said a couple of weeks ago when he had talked to North Carolina, I didn't buy it. I don't think that a guy who is oh so close to being the all-time winningest coach in NFL history and has 6 Super Bowl rings, I didn't think that he was going to want to deal with what college football is right now. And I guess I was wrong. If this is true and Belichick is going to take North Carolina, I don't know what he's exactly doing. Now, maybe this is because he's dating that 24-year-old and he feels rejuvenated and he's ready to go back and see what he can do at the college ranks. But I can't imagine Belichick going to an 18-year-old's house and trying to recruit him and dealing with 17 and 18-year-olds who want $200,000 to commit to North Carolina. Now, I do think that with him being at North Carolina, if this is true and this comes to fruition, that there are some advantages. I do think that recruiting is going to be a little bit easier. Belichick went on the Pat McAfee show and basically laid everything out and said, I'm going to treat this like a professional organization, a professional team, and this is basically UNC is going to be a pipeline to the pros. This is how, if you want to be an NFL player, this is where you need to go. And I think that could work. I really do. I think that there are a lot of people, a lot of 5-star people that when you go to Georgia and you play for Kirby Smart, you're like, yeah, we might win a lot of games in college, but Kirby hasn't had an NFL career. He doesn't know what it's like in the NFL, things like that. This is Bill Belichick. One of the top 3, if not the greatest NFL coach of all time. He knows how to win. He knows how to get things done at the NFL level. He knows how to prepare you for the NFL. So I do think that could be a big recruiting tool in your toolbox. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around Belichick wanting to recruit students and wanting to recruit kids. And the college game has so much pressure and no downtime that, Lane Kiffin said this in a press conference talking about we have National Signing Day in the middle of bowl season and playoff implication games. Like that, this system and the schedule of college football right now is awful. You just had National Signing Day this last Wednesday. Tuesday, the transfer portal opened and like 1,000 players hit the transfer portal in the FBS and Division I. It's hard. In the middle of all this, There are some late games where you're trying to win, trying to get into a conference championship game or fighting for a playoff spot, now getting prepared for a bowl game, and you got to deal with transfer portals and National Signing Day. So it is hard for me to imagine Bill Belichick signing up for this. But if this guy's right, if Ollie Connolly's right, then it looks like Bill Belichick's going to be the next coach at North Carolina. And that's a program that hasn't had a ton of success. They're not a blue blood, obviously, in terms of football. Would be replacing Mac Brown, who I think it did a decent job with North Carolina in both stints that he was there. But you're going to have to compete with basketball, obviously, at that university. But Bill Belichick is a big enough name that you might be able to compete. I just don't know how Belichick's going to react to coaching 19-year-olds. I don't know if his shtick works at that level. At the professional level, I think it's really easy to say whoever's the best player wins, and that's what's going to happen. I think it's harder at the college level, especially if you've given NIL money to players, and the third string guy who you're not paying very well or paying anything, doesn't have any NIL deals, starts making money, and now you have to talk to donors to try to keep him happy. I think that I truly believe that Belichick, if this is true and if this comes to fruition and if this is not just some type of ploy to see if he can bargain with NFL teams, then I think you might have a tough time. Now, if you look across the NFL and you try to see, all right, what job openings are going to be available. We know that the Saints are available, or the Saints are going to be available. You have the Jets that are going to be available. The Jaguars might have an opening. I don't think the Raiders are going to have an opening, and I don't think they're firing him. The Giants might have one if they decide to move off Brian Daboll. The Bears have an opening. There's not a lot of great jobs right now in the NFL. If you want to go to Chicago, maybe you like Caleb Williams, but if you don't like the diva and Caleb Williams, if you're trying to stay away from that, then I don't know what to tell you about the college level, Coach. I feel like it's going to be rough for you. But anyway, if this is true and this is what's going to happen, I am extremely interested in this. And this is interesting too, because he had said there was one thing that I'd read that was talking about Belichick's actually asking UNC that his son, Steve Belichick, basically be the head coach in waiting. And Stephen Belichick will be named. This is what they said 4 days ago. This is Ollie Connolly, the same guy. 4 days ago, said, per sources, I'm told Bill Belichick's negotiations with North Carolina include a guarantee that Stephen Belichick will be named the school's head coach in waiting. And UNC is open to that guarantee. Okay, so maybe that's the play. Maybe you're trying to get a job, try to set a foundation so that you can hand it off to your son to get a kind of a leg up at college football. Maybe that's the thing. Stephen Belichick, obviously, he is coaching at Washington with the Huskies this season. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe that is the play. But nevertheless, if that is the case, and you have a 70-plus-year-old Bill Belichick going to the college game, things are going to get interesting.